Good morning. It's let's see, it's 11:15. So I'm running a little late, but shouldn't be too big of a deal. I don't think anybody's actually viewing yet. So my apologies if somebody did decide to wait at 11 o'clock and take a look. Um, so where we are. So things have been progressing, although the last couple of probably not a couple of streams have been a little light on the cool new steps. Last time I was working on this, I was working on a formula that stumped me for a moment. So I decided to work on it offline rather than working through it online with whoever happened to take a look at this video. So what I ended up doing was I did solve the problem that I was having. The issue was I wanted to have it auto calculate the HP interval. So this is whenever we change the level of a said Pokemon, how often does this particular Pokemon, based on his difficulty, get to increase his HP? This is just the HP, not the stamina. Stamina can have an effect on HP. It'll go into that total, but based on the logic of our spreadsheet, what would that be? So say, for example, we have a difficulty modifier of 4, and this level 100 Pokemon can get up to 170 HP if he's a level 100. But if we set him at, say, a 5, see, our HP interval doesn't change because it's based on our difficulty modifier that goes along with it. Now here he's only at 10, but the thought is that as we go up, the HP increases probably around, what, 13? Let's see, 12 will go up. So let's see, 12, and then let's see, where did it actually increase? We have 39. Oh, I'm sorry, 11, 10. Oh, okay, so I must have been just over the top when I did that. 10, 9, 8, 7. And so 6 was 10, right? Yep. So yeah, at 7 it would have hit 20, and then theoretically at 14 it goes up to 30. So that's kind of how we can see. So if we change our difficulty modifier now, so we want to have a Pokemon that's considered a pretty tough Pokemon, we would set him at 8. And now he's got an HP interval of 4. So that means every 4 levels, he's going to go up in HP. So he's going to increase in HP faster. So that's basically what I was working on last time, so that we can have a nice, so now for any Pokemon we put in here, if we put in these 4 pieces of information, it's going to calculate the interval on that. So if you were watching before and it matters to you, the problem I was having was I can't use the page values to calculate it. So I was going to just have it dynamically go through and change level until it figured out what a change was. Well, that doesn't work because apparently you can't, a function or cannot change the spreadsheet or the sheet that you're working on. All it can do is return a value. So if you change anything on the field, doesn't matter if I go to a field's totally unrelated or cell's totally unrelated, it doesn't work. So what I ended up having to do is actually call the same function that the HP one is calling, except it would track the values it passed through the functions using these values. So it would read these values in. As you can see, my HP interval is looking at what E3, G3, and M3 are, which are the stamina and the E3 and the G3. And then it passes those through and then starts randomly, or not randomly, but starts incrementing level values in until it finds out at which point it changes. If it changes at 4 or 5 or 6 levels, then it marks it down. It returns at 4, 5, or 6. It's just checking to see what the change level is going to be. So now, as you can see, we've been doing all of our stuff on this row, because you get it all working and you determine how you're going to do it. Now I still haven't gone through and done any crunchy stats, so we still have a scenario where we're not squishing the values in there good enough, which that means we want to have, like, say, if we have a lot of like if we say we have a level 1 difficulty guy, he stays 10 really long because his first values are actually under 1, and he goes partial 1, close to 1, getting closer to 1. And so it actually is a little broken when you have difficulty modifiers that are super low. If we did a squishy, what I call it is this a squishy ratio, which takes all the numbers basically from bottom to top and divides up all the numbers in the middle, we can't have like sub 1. Like if we say 1 is the lowest value, and then everything else starts to come up on that, we'll still have some lower the range, but it wouldn't be as bad. With the lower guys that fall underneath a certain range won't have terrible numbers. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. I think for our purposes, for the state of sampling, getting ourselves some stuff up, this will do the trick. So here's the deal. I can actually take what I'll do first. Now these don't have to be all the way in here, but if I go in here and actually copy down all the way to the bottom of my stuff here, I can copy my formula all the way down. So it's going to be 0 because there's not a lot of values in here. But as we copy more of these fields down, actually I could just take let's say we want to, well, I want to do the formula ones. So the multiplier, see, this guy should not even be on every field. This is one that should actually reference on another sheet. So we should have a sheet that's like, and logically this makes a lot more sense. We would go rename, I'm going to say modifiers, formula modifiers. Let's just say modifiers. You can call them variables, modifiers, whatever. They're all tweaking our values. They're static values. It's not typically any. So I would just have like, sometimes I'll have multiple columns, and then you just name the one you want. In this case, it's the HP modifier. HP mod, and since I had X on there, I'm just going to rename this to HP mod. Oops, dang it! Oh no! Sometimes when you rename, it doesn't let you change. Yep, it's not going to let me change case. Bummer. Whatever. Then let's just go all capital. Oh, won't let me change case. Suck. All right, so I just do this. Let's just delete that. All right. I don't want that. Go away. Go away, go away, go away. Oh, I could rename it to something else. Let's just say HP HP modifier. I really liked that. Modifier. Let's just type it out. What? You're being dumb. Leave me alone. All right. So the only other way to do this, you have to go in. If you really want to change your name, you have to go in and actually look at. There's a list of names. Is there? It's not going to be on here. All right. So where is it at? Let's see. We have advanced text to columns. Data validation. Dang it! I don't know where it is. View. Range names. Don't see it. See, these kind of things are annoying because it's like range names. Oh, can I actually find them? Huh. Oh, well, I can create one, but it's not letting me actually look at the ones I already have. which is annoying. Should be heavy. So we're gonna go ahead and see if we can track these down. So it's ranges, allow edit ranges. Now, there are a lot of people out there who don't actually think named ranges are great. And I'll agree. There's definitely some flaws with having named ranges. For one, you kind of get fixed into this, right? And if you move the cells, the name will typically go if you use the exact same cells and copy and move them, and the name will follow. But what it will not do, in fact, that's not right. This is the name of the field, but this is actually the field I want to be named, HP mod. There we go. And so this one we set it at 39. And it's just because I wanted to get a high enough value based on our other numbers that gets us up into the range we want. So this is what I'm using, 39. I could change that up, get some different effects if I want. But now, if I go over to my encounter cards, oops, nope, is it my area cards? Area cards, yep. And then we'll go, instead of using that value here, G3 is actually going to be changed to, let's take this, and then you can go select modifiers, and then you just go like that. And you hit enter. It's the same result, still 50, except now it's no longer referencing this field. That allows me to take this field and get rid of it, and I only have to set it in the one place. See, it's going to mess everything up until I copy it down. And then they go back to being zeros until I get some values in there. Again, these are all based, so we do have to have some kind of a difficulty. So let's assume, let's put a 2 in for everybody. Now, so the only time you need to have it in every column or every row is when it's going to affect each card individually. So, whoops. So we start getting some values in here. We'll say our minimum level is going to be 1. Now, yes, we won't have levels for the other kinds of cards, and we'll be deleting the formulas that go in the middle because all that's going to do is confuse things. So now we have this. So this is what happens when we have values in those. You can see that we have like this energy card and this energy card. Those things will not have any value. So I could actually go in here and just whack those because they aren't going to have anything. They just are what they are. They're not going to have anything in the middle. But when you're copying stuff down, it's just easier to go back and remove them or delete them when you don't need them. Or you can do a sort, which pushes all of the Pokemon stuff at the top, and you just work on those. So that's kind of, you can do a multi-column sort by type, or probably by category first, and then sort by Pokemon or something. This way, you could even take them out, do a filter out everything that's not Pokemon, and just work on those, which would probably be the best way for us to be doing this right now. So if I put in a filter here, and then go here, and then we just take the ones that are Pokemon, whenever we copy and stuff, it'll only affect the rows that are pertaining to those cards. So kind of simplify our process here. Oh yeah, and this one also needs to be looking at HP mod. Now, if you're doing name values and use them just as variants or variables like this, or it's just one cell. Oops. What did I do? Oops. All right. Go over to modifiers and just select it. There we go. If you do it, just reference one cell. It's the better way to have named cells. Okay, so when you do a named range that actually covers multiple cells, in your inline formulas that aren't custom, or if you don't have code that needs to reference those, there's no real way to tell. Excel is pretty smart about passing in the right value to that function, but if that function needs to do any kind of referencing to the row it's in and that kind of thing, it won't know what row it's on. So it's going to have a hard time referencing other ranges. So it's a little weird in that way. So it can only use the values, calculate off those values, and move on. If you need to know what row or range you're in, you don't want to have ranges that that need to determine what line they're on. So named ranges are probably best for single cells, although I do use them for named ranges if I need to reference them. It just kind of comes down to whether or not it's causing me problems or not. If it is, then I start referencing. Like you can see here, I had to change to E3, L3, D3, which is referring to the level, the difficulty modifier, and the stamina modifier, or the column over here. So keep in mind, only HP cares about what stamina is. So there's no reason to worry about the defense and offense. However, we will also adjust stamina logically. Like you can see, we have code in here that can adjust stamina. I don't know that we've got it quite tweaked the way we want it to yet. So we do want stamina to adjust itself based on level. But I was kind of messing with that, trying to get that to work kind of dynamically as well. So if stamina is our focus, you can figure that at level 14, we have 14 stat increases that we can apply, and the majority of those should be going towards stamina. Don't need to be all of them. So the thought was that if we basically take level and split it, like maybe we split it by 2, and then round up, and then take the difference and split it between offense and defense, but then everything kind of gets samey, right? So if you're at a level 5, they're all going to be the same. So the trick is how do we mix those up? We can do a random that has a range from 1 to whatever the stat, or even 0 to whatever the stat is, and then have it pick that. We can have the stamina say, okay, we're going to give it 25% of the boost, or 25% of the points, and then have it randomize the next 25%, and then have the other two split the difference, whatever that is. Or we just say stamina is always going to be at the higher. So it's just a matter of how you want to approach it. There's always ways to tweak these formulas. I'm not sure what I actually have going here. So what this one is trying to say is, based on 100, how much is the max stamina? Because stamina can only be 15. So I basically took D3, the difficulty modifier, the level, and divided by 100. So that's probably a little. Ultimately, I was trying to get a percentage. I want a percentage of the stamina, and I want to be a max. Because at level 15, there should be no logic, or level 30 even, you shouldn't have a logic that puts you at 15 stat points, unless you're at in the level 90 plus. So we don't want to have that. So our formula needs to be smart enough to go, okay, well, we're only at level 14. There shouldn't be more than, whatever our max feeling is for it based on difficulty modifier. Maybe we don't even consider difficulty modifier. Is it the focus and how much of it we have, because difficulty modifier, does it matter for those things? Those are stats, you're going to get them anyway. It's just going to have a focus on them. The difficulty modifier is really going to affect perhaps your strength, and maybe your offense might affect that some, or even your defense some, but your stamina, probably won't affect your stamina. Defense, I decided it's just going to make it so he's got kind of like a natural resistance, not resistance in general, but it's going to affect his natural resistance. Offense is going to, see, what was offense going to be? I forgot what offense is going to be, but I think I wrote it down in our rules, so we'll go take a look at that next. But once we have all these in place, and we've copied this all down, we should start getting some numbers. So let's see here, we have this, we don't have the HP interval on here, so we'll take that, and we'll copy it all the way down to our bottom. There we go. So now, since these guys all have the same values, they're basically getting the same numbers. So these are at every 13 levels. They level up at difficulty modifier 2 and level 1. So obviously none of these 7s or 8s are going to have any different number either, because they're not 13 levels high enough. But we will change these. I want to have I want to have some variety in here. And we're going to mix up the stamina and the offense and defense values as well. And since it's 3, if I consistently just take these 3 and switch them in and out, we will have different Pokemon getting the different stats. Three. Mostly because we have more Pokemon than that in each group, so the 3s are not going to oversync and end up being the same Pokemon all the time. And let's go ahead with this guy, and we'll just be different defense. Okay, so again, we're getting closer. As you can see, once you have these numbers in place, our ability to play with the different things, like let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7's good. So we'll say 2, and an 8 is pretty high. Let's not go 8. Let's change that to a 5. And I think either 6 levels is decent. It's going to be kind of, and then it's every 5 for a difficulty modifier offense. Let's see here. Let's go. Yeah, we got to have at least one guy who's going to be a 1, right? So let's put Magikarp at a 1. I know, he don't level up very fast. But maybe at level, or not level up, he levels up normally. But maybe he never really gets out of being lame, you know? So he doesn't ever actually increase his HP. He stays lame forever, unless you can get him up to, but you could at level 25, which one level later he'll be pretty good size, but level 25 you can say he can go to Gyarados or something. Or level 50, he has to level up once before he can get there. But once he does, he gets to go to Gyarados, who probably levels up. We can maybe set Gyarados up to level, we'll set him at a 14 difficulty or something, and he'll level up pretty fast. No, I mean, our difficulty's max is 10, but like if we were to do a max 10, I mean, that's every 3 levels, so that would be pretty quick. Difficulty, Gyarados probably never be difficulty of 10, but even so, an 8 is still pretty good. That's every 4 levels. He'll get more. Now, he'll be kind of behind, but remember, when you evolve, it's a new Pokemon. He's going to have new base. So you may have nothing when you have Magikarp, but then you level up, and he's going to get the base HP of whatever. So you might come in at 25, and say your Gyarados is level 6 all of a sudden. He's going to start with the 60 HP at level 25, with 75 levels to go, if we say you can level him up sooner. So Magikarp would be one of those guys you just kind of carry around until you can get him leveled up to 50 or 60 or whatever it is, or get him up to the point where you can go to Gyarados and then make him really strong. So he might be, maybe Gyarados will be a 7. he'll be 70, but at level 50, he suddenly starts, he's 140, and he's getting to be a pretty good sized Pokemon. So that's all. That's just my thought on how we will approach that. So 5, 6, 2, 1. I want to do a copy again, so we can do. We have 2, 2, 1. Let's say. Oops. 3. And 4. Why not? All right. So now I'll take all of these guys. I don't want it to be the same Pokemon every time. So let's actually just take these guys. We'll just copy them down right underneath each other. Oops. Wait. Control C, Control V, and then we'll go here. I'm not sure that these aren't copying to the rows underneath. I don't think they're supposed to, but it appears they are. Because the ranges should have stayed the same size. So that would have been how that would have worked. But it didn't. It's alright. Like I said, I can always delete them from there. It still gives us our randomizing that we like. Alright, so now as you can see, we've got a lot of HP intervals that vary from all over the place. They get increased values at different places. We don't know what we haven't set up their starting levels, and we're going to do the same thing that we did before. We'll set up starting levels here. We'll say he gets a start at 5. Also, this way we have plenty of starting level options. We don't want to have too many high level. Like these guys would be, 2s. So. Again, they'll get us a nice variety in here. Don't know why that's making me do that. Oops. There we go. I don't want too many ones, but I don't think we have too many. I think we're in good shape. So we got some pretty high HP intervals, but all our guys are starting in the 20 to 10 range, which is reasonable for very low level Pokemon. Some will be a little better, obviously, because they have higher difficulty values. And, it just depends on their combination of luck. What else what are our best ones? We've got a couple guys that level up every 5 levels. Will get extra HP. Don't have any 4s yet, because I didn't really put any 8s, any high difficulties in here. So keep in mind, right now what we're doing is just trying to build our basic Pokemon set that we're going to use for our game in playtest. Probably have to create a lot more Pokemon, a lot more stuff later, but if in doing so, it should be pretty easy to do because we'll just be adding them to the bottom of the sheet, and that'll automatically include them in the publisher sheets as well. What we do need to do is come up with our strength formula, which we haven't done. And we'll need to come up with these guys' stat formulas. Strength formula is going to be some bearing, some combination of what they can have for their starting. So a starting HP is 10. So if your deck is 10, that's not going to work. So we'll probably have rules of at least 2 cards. So your strength cannot be more than, like, say, your HP. It's like maybe one half your HP plus 1, and then we'll round down. 1/2 your HP just say it's half your HP. No, can't be half your HP. because if your HP hits 140, and even if you're only using the divide by 10, that still gives you 7 cards. And if you ever get it all the way up to the max, and you're level 100, and you're level 30, if it's 1/2, you can have up to 15 cards in your hand. It's a lot of cards in your hand. So what's a good amount of cards based on the size of your deck? I'm not worried about small cards. I mean, if you can only have 1 or 2 cards, then it just means you are basically hoping to have only energy in your stack, and you'll be pulling up energy and you'll make your attack. So you have to hope that we'll be setting up these Pokemon with attacks that can be done at their lowest level. We want them to be able to attack or do something. So we'll have to make sure that 1 energy is enough, that they have plenty of 1 energy actions. Or if they have more cards, they can, you might be building up your health decks, basically some form of energy. You might get some special energies in there. But, you won't be putting Pokemon in your energy cards. Why would you do that? So, but you might get, eventually as you get stronger, you might start carrying items in that Pokemon's stack. Maybe something to heal, or, it's some form of energy cards to start producing more abilities, things like that. Maybe you have to have a variety of energy for certain attacks later, so you'll be putting more variety of energy, so as you're drawing, you need that energy. Or if you have special energy, when you use them, you might have to use its ability, and you have to discard it, in which case you need to get, more cards. So that's your strategy. It's kind of like taking damage for using it. But if it can heal you up completely, and you take 1 damage off of that, still, later on in the game, that could matter more. Okay. So, let's see. How do we want to do strength? What's a reasonable amount of cards at the highest level? Again, our logic has to always consider the highest level first, because we're trying to prevent overindulging, overpowering, overwhelming the player. Yeah, it's probably overwhelming the player. It's like, oh no, I'm level 100 and I'm carrying 7 cards out of the 30 in my deck, and it's just, it gets to be too much. Now, is it unreasonable to have 7 cards in your hand? No. I mean, like what? Magic's default hand is 7 cards. So that's not terrible, but 15 cards, that's getting pretty high up there. Now, granted, how often are you going to be level 100, and how often are you going to be able to fight with those cards? I don't know. That's a lot. I mean, I know that in Pokemon, when you play, there's a lot of ways in the TCG to get a lot of cards, but generally 7 to 10 is kind of the high end, right? Because you could be playing and you get down to nothing in a turn if you're really good at playing off all of the trainers and everything. But yeah, so it's a matter of your ability to build your deck in a way that allows you to get your Pokemon set up here. So I know I'm starting to trail off, and that's me trying to solve problems in my head and talk at the same time. So there are those moments when you're like trying to figure out a problem, and as I talk, I it's kind of like when you voice an issue, it actually helps you to formulate problems, or in this case, formulate problems or formulate solutions, because you start thinking about what you're saying. Wait a minute, if I do that, then X, Y, Z, so we've got to come up with the right way to hit this. Well, I mean, I guess the worst thing is, maybe we have to tweak the formula later. I want my strength to be based on the deck. The deck is your HP. So we want to be able to say whatever and do we have a strength interval? When does strength go up? We have to have a strength interval, because the intervals are what tell the user when they can start drawing more cards. So if he's level 6 and it's at half, he can draw more cards then. So at level 100, you don't want your strength to be 50, right? So that's going to be way too high. So, and if it's based on your HP, I'll consider your HP could go as high as 350, which even if you divide it by 10, that's 35. And if you divide 35 by 2, you get 17 cards. And really, do super high defensive Pokemon really have that high of a strength? I'd say the answer is no. So, perhaps it's not based on HP, but we need it to be lower than maybe it's equal to your offense. Maybe strength is offense. Maybe we don't do an offense. We just have strength, defense, and stamina. That still means you can get up to 15 cards, but you can't max. You can't go above 15 cards. And at level 5, so So part of what I've been thinking is, I don't know if I want to make users, earn a point every round, and then just say every 2 points is a boost. I'm thinking about just giving them a stat boost every other level. I know people want to gain after every level. I mean, you want to have something when you level, but what's a stat boost going to do you if it doesn't do you anything? Yeah, I don't know. You could offset your stat boost, right? Every other turn you have one at 1, one at 2, one at 3, and then if you level up the 1 to a 2, you get a boost. If you level a 2 to a 3, you don't. But if you go a 3 to the 4, you do. And each time when you level them, you can have them offset. It's still going to have you skipping pretty consistently, because every time you pick one that's odd to even. But I just don't want to overcomplicate this. I want it when you get a stat, it means something. But there's just not enough room to keep doing that. So you need to have them periodically. And if it's every other, that means your 45 possible becomes over 90, which works. Maybe strength, and if strength and offense are the same, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. I don't know what to consider here. There's a lot going on. Yep. So if I go, all right, so let's actually go in here and see about, look at my rules. Look at my rules, things that I've thought about, things that I've planned. Got my brainstorm over here. And what did I say about, did I have offense defined? I don't know if I even did offense. Let's go see. I did not. Let's see. Stamina. Jeez, did I not put stamina in here either? But I just made those up and never even got around to putting them in. Let's see here. What does my Pokemon card say? It's level Pokemon card. Starting level. Oh, level, strength, focus, skills. Max damage, starting damage, damage increase. Oh. That might be the offense. Or difficulty? That might be the offense. So I didn't really name them that, but this is technically the increase value of how much your Pokemon might get stronger, right? So if you have a 10 attack at the beginning, you can go up to 20 and 30 and 40. So your base skills get stronger as you get bigger. That makes sense. What else we have? Cost for using skills, abilities paid by the card of the Pokemon deck, catch chance. Pokeballs are card. Oh yeah, I saw that whole formula to work out. That's, yeah, it's, and you take away how much damage they've got, how weak are they, you know, that kind of thing. I don't know, does defense prevent them from being caught? I don't know. Haven't gotten to that yet. All right, so starting level, starting strength, evolution identifier, focus skills. So this is minimum level required to evolve. We haven't even put in their evolve level. That's probably just going to be a pick. I'm not going to actually, I think certain Pokemon are just, we're just going to say level 25, level 40, level 50. Maybe we'll do it according to what, you know, what we can find at certain, you know, certain, for the games. Make them kind of coincide a little bit. You know, if normally levels at 25, then shoot, let's do 25. We're really converting the video game to some extent into a board game, allowing people to play their game, play with other people, sit down around a table and go Pokemon hunting like they're playing the video games, but you know, you don't get to play with other people in the video games usually, other than to, you know, connect with them and fight. But this will give you a chance to kind of do that, but in a board game setting. A different way of managing it, a chance to play with your kids and stuff, you know. It'll be close. It won't be exactly the same, but we'll do a lot of that kind of things to kind of make them feel consistent so that we can do that. Plus, you know, like I said, if I retheme this, it doesn't really matter what numbers we put in. The ultimate goal is that we are able to get that same kind of feel. Evolution. Yeah, see, evolution in a rethemed game is not about getting bigger and stronger, right? It's just getting different. Because if you're doing like dinosaurs or some other thing, or Digimon, you're still, if you do Digimon, you're just doing another theme. If you do natural evolution, that's not really getting stronger, it's just getting different. So there's that. But then you have to bring time elements into it, right? How much time has passed, and now your dinosaurs now become these kind of things. And it's possible, we could say, you know, as the game progresses, years are passing by, and everybody's affected by changes over time. You know, these guys evolve after this many years. These guys evolve after that many years. I know, I'm not even talking Pokemon right now. I'm just talking retheming and ways you could take the game and tweak it so that you could play it with another concept underneath its belt. You can make another concept up, just make it your own thing, but then you got to be careful because you don't want to be Pokemon or Digimon. You want to be, your own thing. So there's some creativity that's involved in trying to come up with new themes, especially if it's a theme that doesn't already exist. Somebody else hasn't already thought of it. Now, there's themes out there that maybe they haven't applied to a game that do something similar, and you can try to mimic those and see if you can get those licenses. But anytime you start talking about somebody else's theme, then you're talking about licenses, which is potentially talking about money, right? So, all right. So let's see about it. Let's see what we want to do here. So offense, I'm going to leave it as a separate stat. I haven't decided how it's going to work, and I haven't decided how strength is going to work. I want strength. You've got to get a minimum strength has always got to be at least 1. And offense can go up to 15. And you can never have your offense higher than your level, because you're only going to get one thing anyway. And it's really not your card size, or your HP is actually each card's representative of 10 points. So it's not one card equals, it's not 10 cards for 10 points. It's your deck size are hit points, but it's 10 per. So if you're at a 10 HP, you have one card. And so you could do something like, all right, so let's just put something in here. Just, like I said, we could always tweak it. Equals, let's just say 1/2, or not 1/2, we'll say G2 divided by 2 plus 1. Oops. Plus 1. What was that? Okay. G2 divided by 2 plus 1. That guarantees that we at least have one card. G2 divided by 2 plus 1. How is that? Oh, that's right. I knew that looked weird to me. G3. And we also got to have to divide. It's actually more like G3 divided by 10. And then we got to do a rounding here. So we can't go higher than our HP. So it's going to have to be 10, it would be 1. So we want it to be, because this is going to work pretty good, because at level 100, oh, that becomes 10. Divided by 2 is 5, plus 1 is 6, right? No, is that right? No, oh, I'm thinking of the HP. HP is 300, and I think we can go up to as much as 400 in theory. We're not going to have anything each that high, because we're not going to have that high of difficulty modifiers. But if we go to 400, we got to think, well, if it's based on their HP, I don't think strength should be based on their defense, right? I mean, that's really not their, that's really not what that's all about. I mean, he could be weak. Snorlax isn't known for being a terribly strong Pokemon. He's definitely got a high defense, and he's got some pretty good attacks, when he's snoozing, but I don't know. Is he a terribly strong Pokemon? He's pretty big. Wailord, he's got some pretty decent attacks, I guess, but they're not like uber powerful. He's just huge. He's just hard to knock down. And of course, EXs and stuff, you can't count them. They're going to be strong, and they're just going to have high strength because it's based on that. So having a big Pokemon with high stats does not necessarily mean you're a hugely strong Pokemon. I mean, in fact, oftentimes I would think they're pretty big. What's a big basic that's like not even an EX or anything? I think, was it? No, not Shuckle. There's a couple of Pokemon I think that can get to be pretty hefty basics, but I don't think they're generally considered all that strong. My thought is that just means they got good defense. Doesn't mean that they've got good strength. And strength is going to be their ability to act. It's almost like quickness. You know? How good of cards do you have? That's an interesting thought. Quickness. I wonder if I should use that and call it quickness. So quickness implies how fast you are, right? And what is quickness other than the ability to do something quickly? Using your abilities, your dodge, your attacks, your whatever, quickly. So if you have I wonder, so quickness is, say, if you have skills that are 1 energy, that's speed, I think is what it is. But speed means how fast it can go towards your ability to act first and your ability to power up first. You know, how quickly are you going to be able to get to those big attacks? How quickly are you going to be able to hit stuff? I like that. But the question is, how difficult is that? So, if we want to have it be related to your speed, because IV values are what? What are the typical IV values? Pokemon IV checker. Let's see, what are they? Typically, they are attack, defense, and HP. Oh, so they use HP as one of the IVs. Attack and defense. So let's call this, we'll change ours to attack just so that it matches up. And defense. Interestingly enough, though, is it really HP? I could have swore stamina was one of them. Attack, defense, and HP. Interesting. Yeah. Doesn't let you pick them. It just tells you which one is the best one. It says find out. Change stats open to ready. Oh, yeah, it's kind of like attack it's the same thing as our focus. So when you pick one, it's like that one's your best one, and then it figures it out based on that. So, and the IV values in the Pokemon Go are different from other games because they use a thing called I don't know, dust, which is basically, I guess, the level of that Pokemon. You know, what level dust are you at? So it's kind of a strange thing. And then, you know, has it leveled up at all, and it does all these other weird calculations. So we're not going to copy that. But what I was trying to do is just figure out what are some of the things that affect it. And apparently stamina is not one of them. So we're going to have some slightly different IV values, because I am going to use stamina. Because I want my stamina to affect how many cards you can tweak your HP by and give you an effect. Same thing with attack. It's going to do what it does. So I think attack is going to power up. Because remember, we got to level up our guys and make them stronger. Even though we're only doing, like, say, a base of 10 or 20 damage, we can do extra damage based on attack. That's kind of the goal. And it may not have an effect right away. Maybe at first it's only affecting your strength, or you're affecting your speed. So attack might affect your speed and your damage skills. You know, they get stronger, your speed gets better. Speed, I think I'm going to go with speed for, yeah, I think I'm going to go with speed instead of strength. Because I think logically it makes more sense, because having extra cards in your hand does not necessarily make you stronger, but it does allow you to do more quicker. So you'll be able to do bigger attacks, you'll be able to do more, because you'll have more cards available to you. I'm going to call it speed, so we're not going to have strength anymore. So whatever I had here before that said strength, if anything, assuming I actually had that in my stuff, starting speed, and I'm just changing this out all the way, and we're just going to go, it's now speed. Because I like the premise that it matters, that it affects how many cards on your Pokemon turn, draw cards equal to speed. What did it do? Why did it do it? On your turn, draw cards. Current Pokemon speed. Alright, so that should pretty much give us back our. So as we altered from strength to speed, I think it makes a lot more sense. Because I like it. Because I say so. It's my game. I'm going to do what I want to do. That's what we're doing. We're doing what I want to do. Alright, so we're going on to speed. Again, I like it. So now let's figure out how we want to use it. I want it to perhaps, if we know that attack, see, at level 5, let's say, for example, you had half, but it can't be more than your HP, which is only going to be 1. Maybe speed starts off at 1, and if it's gonna have to have a speed interval. I think all these guys are gonna have to have intervals. You can tell how often you change them. You should also be able to reference it, but we'll put it in the Pokédex. I know. We're making progress, but not as much as I would like. I am an hour in today. We'll be doing this again this afternoon. This is all part of the design process. I mean, obviously, I may have been optimistic. Will we get to it at the end of the week? Well, if I finish these 4 formulas, we might be done with these cards. To be fair, these cards are the hardest. Doing trainer deck, we'll have items, but they do what they do. There's not like any formulas necessary. Well, they might take some time, but we won't create very many of them. We might create 10 or so just to create them. Some of them will have to be multiple times in a deck. We'll have some other cards in our encounters. We'll create some energy cards, but again, it's only going to be a handful of them, and they do what they do. There's not like stats related to them. So really, we're doing the hard part right now. For our formulas, the Pokemon cards are the hardest. They're the ones that kind of drive the game, give us our variety, and get us to set up so we can actually play our game. You know, have some cool stuff going on, and be able to have our building up our Pokemon, our fighting guys. So keep in mind, we're doing the hard part now. Once we plug them into Publisher, which should go pretty easy. Maybe it'll look good, maybe it won't. Just be some colors and oddball stuff going on. But I think we'll be able to set it up in a way that things look pretty decent. Do-do, do-do, do-do. Yeah, got a delivery. Ignore me, I'm sorry. I got distracted by my phone. Mostly because I'm kind of stumped at the moment. I got to figure out how speed is going to work and how it's going to share how it's going to be adjusted. I don't think speed is. Like I said, I've tried not to get too fiddly. Too many things going on makes a game fiddly, and fiddly just means complicated. Too many things to track. Pokemon, again, if we're trying to make it fun for kids, at least eight or older, which I think is a reasonable age to start playing Pokemon. Get too young, they don't know what they're doing. They just see the cards and go, yay, you know. I'm gonna think about these. Maybe I'll tweak them a little bit while I'm offline in the next few hours. I did set this afternoon's stream schedule for 3:30 because I want to get started a little bit earlier. So I've got a lot of things I got to try to get done before then. Therefore, I'm gonna stop. I gotta go take care of a few things, and then I will be back online in a few hours, and we'll try again, see if we can get some more stuff done. See you then. Bye.